So thanks for joining us for a digital hair chat today. It's great to have you on board. Just to introduce the project, Digital Her is sponsored by the Institute of Coding, which is based in Bath, and their mission is to generally inform and educate people and break down barriers to digital learning and employment. So Digital Her has come out of that, but with a greater focus on encouraging young women and girls and non-binary people, anyone who may have been dissuaded away from tech, that there is career opportunities here, and through talking to people like yourself, we want to sort of create a board of different roles within tech that people are doing. So yeah, so to basically educate people who don't know there might be a perfect role in tech and digital for them. So to begin, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what it is you're doing right now?
Sure. Hi, my name's Zoe. I'm a configuration engineer at Open Bionics. They're a Bristol-based company who use 3D printing technologies to make bionic arms for amputees. So a bit about my role. I'm on the team that designs the bespoke arms that our users wear. And another big part of my job is that I travel around the UK and other countries, making relationships with prosthetists and clinicians, and explaining how our product works.
Cool, that sounds really interesting. What skills do you use the most in your job?
So a lot of CADs. So we design all of the bespoke parts on various CAD programs. So it's quite computer based. But then also on the more people-focused part of my job, where I'm doing a lot of presenting and a lot of communication skills. So there's a nice balance of the technical and the personal as well.
Yeah, has COVID stopped like a lot of the traveling sort of aspect of
it? Yeah, we're kind of that definitely got clamped down in comparison with last year. I got to go to France, Spain, America, the Netherlands. Quite a few times. So last year was very big on traveling, and obviously not really possible this year. But we've tried to do a lot of kind of like online webinars, so we have managed to sort of continue making those relationships with people. Just slightly less interesting for me, because I get to do it from my house in Bristol as opposed to kind of traveling to these cool places. But hopefully in the near future we'll be able to start traveling again.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. So could you tell us a bit about how your journey began right back from education? Were you always sort of interested in tech, or did you see yourself doing what you're doing now when you were back at school?
I think I always really enjoyed maths and physics. I was quite sciencey. I think the appeal of engineering for me is sort of a combination between maths and science, and then also quite creative as well. So I kind of had this blend of interests, and I had a lot of really good teachers at high school as well, who kind of saw that and encouraged me to apply for engineering. So that was kind of what pushed me towards picking engineering at university.
Cool. What university did you end up going to?
I studied mechanical engineering for a master's at Bristol University.
Nice, cool. Was there anything that inspired you to go into tech?
I think meeting various people throughout my engineering degree. For example, I ended up at Open Bionics because I accidentally walked into the back of a lecture that my now boss was giving. So he was sort of talking about his vision for using technology to create a better world for the limb different community. I think prosthetics are stereotypically very expensive, sort of upwards of maybe like £50,000. It's obviously not very affordable for the vast amount of those with relevant disabilities. So kind of that really inspired me to use something, sort of using that blend of skills of like creativity, maths, science, to really like benefit this huge range of career in engineering.
Cool. So yeah, so was your first job with Open Bionics?
So I got an internship. So basically, at the end of that lecture that I accidentally went into the back of, Joel asked if anyone had any questions, and I stuck up my hand and asked if I could have an internship with the company. So I had an internship with them over the summer after I graduated. I moved to London to work for another startup for about a year, and then Open Bionics got a second round of investment, and I applied when they started advertising for more jobs. So I got my foot firmly in the door.
Nice, love it. Yeah, I feel like Open Bionics are the definition of tech for good as well. So
Yeah.
it's sort of more than just working on tech. It's like making like a real difference to a lot of people. What challenges have you faced along the way working in tech? So, I mean, it's kind of a broad question, but whether that be anything more like technical on, you know, certain projects that you work on that acts as sort of a barrier, or anything about being a woman in tech. Women in tech.
I think I found motivating myself through my degree quite difficult. I think especially at the beginning, because I'd gone in to an engineering degree because I was interested in maths and science, but I didn't have a specific goal that I was aiming for at the end. So kind of like when you're getting up to go to 9 hours of really intense maths lectures on a Monday morning and you don't have like something that you're specifically aiming for at the end, I think I found that quite difficult at times to kind of keep on going. I did consider dropping out a couple of times, but in hindsight, I'm so glad that I persisted, because now I have this this job that I really enjoy every day.
Yeah.
So I think kind of forcing yourself to kind of go and like learn this amount of information on all these complicated subjects that ultimately is really satisfying, but at the time is very difficult to kind of like push yourself through. I think looking back at my kind of career so far, that was probably the most challenging thing.
Yeah, for sure. That definitely makes sense. Not exactly the easiest degree subject as well. So from your experiences, do you think that the tech and digital sector is doing enough to sort of encourage diversity and inclusion? And, you know, do you think we're moving in the right direction in that area?
I think there's been loads of really good progress. Like I for like example, like this project that you're running, like I imagine like 10 years ago, it was probably not very much stuff like this. I think we are starting to see the positive change. Like I think it was something like 20 years ago, it was like 1% of all engineers were women, and now it's closer to 20. But you know, it's still like that's still not at 50%. So I think we are moving in the right direction. You'd hope that, you know, at sort of like some point in the near future, you'd see like a really wide representation of all types of people across the board. I think it's still mostly like white men who take the majority of roles in engineering, but I think it is moving in the right direction. And I think kind of by this is sort of why I want to get more involved in projects like these, to kind of do what I can to help continue moving stuff in the right direction.
Yeah, I feel like a big part of it is just kind of simply visibility. Yeah, as you said, like that's the sort of objective behind this project. I think when you're not in an industry, you don't know who is working there. And on the face of it, tech does seem very like white male. Reality, there's a few of us who aren't. Sure. Has your view of the sector changed at all since you started working in it?
I think so. I think part of the reason that I struggled with motivation slightly when I was at university is the representation that I got of what a job in engineering would look like was sort of working for like a big car company or a big plane company, big manufacturing jobs that I really wasn't interested in at all.
Yeah.
But then having found this job and found out so much more information about like the bionics industry, it sort of opens up all of these different places that I would want to go with my career that I had no idea existed before, because it is I guess quite like a niche area in comparison to the kind of more generic engineering disciplines. But I think having kind of got my foot in the door in this area of engineering that I'm really interested in, it sort of opens up all of these different pathways that I had no idea existed before. So yeah, I think my view of everything has definitely changed since I started working.
Yeah, for sure. What's something that you've been particularly interested in that you've worked on so far in your career?
Well, one of the things that we offer at Open Bionics is customizable covers, which is older prosthetics tend to try and replicate the look of a natural arm. So they kind of try and match the skin tone of the patient, try and have sort of a hand that would mirror what a natural hand would look like. We kind of gone completely the other way, because and really embrace sort of like a robotic look. We have kind of customizable covers, which we can do like Disney designs or designs that are based on video games, or the users can choose really bright colors to kind of customize their arm to whatever they want it to look like. And I really love that message of sort of accepting that you are different and kind of embracing it and making it your own personal product, as opposed to trying to like conform to something that you don't have, but that's not a bad thing. So I think kind of getting on board with designing customizable covers that really like make the products amazing for the user to wear and really build up their confidence. I think that's one of my favorite things that I worked on at Open Bionics.
Yeah, that's super cool. I remember first like learning about who Open Bionics are and seeing like the robot hands, and I was like, wow, you can just imagine like the kids going into school and like, whoa, that's so cool. And it's amazing.
That's the one of the most common pieces of feedback we get from our younger users, is that they kind of getting to an age where they're quite self-conscious about their limb difference, and then they have this awesome thing that like turns what kind of something that they're feeling negatively about into this kind of like cool positive experience. So it's like I think that's the most satisfying thing I find about my job, is kind of seeing that change in confidence of our younger users.
Yeah, for sure. It must be so rewarding. What's your favorite thing about working in tech?
I think working in an industry that I feel is making a difference to people's lives, I think that really gives me the motivation to kind of go into work every day, work really hard. I know quite a few people who are my age who are just sort of like, they're working because they have to, but I work because I genuinely enjoy coming into work every day. So I think being part of an industry that is making a difference, I think that's my favorite thing about tech.
Yeah, that's super rewarding. Is there anything in the future that you would like to work on?
Yeah, I think so. I'm sort of seeing myself progressing more down a sort of kind of like a combination of prosthetic design, but also working more closely with patients. So I'm sort of considering a career in occupational therapy as well. So sort of learning how to use, continue using tech to continue helping the disabled community learn to live more comfortably. I'm also doing an online course in full stack web development, so learning how to code as well. That was sort of that came out of lockdown. It just like I had so much free time on my hands because no one was doing anything, and I think coding is going to be such a huge part of the kind of like future engineering industry that I kind of wanted to start getting the ball rolling on learning how to do that as well.
It'd be interesting to see how many people took up like trying to learn to code in lockdown.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably quite a popular like, I'm gonna learn a new skill now I have time to. Yeah, sure. How are you planning on learning it? What particular course you're gonna take?
For the coding.
Yeah.
So I'm currently enrolled in an online course that takes it's meant to take about a year if you're working full time alongside. So just kind of doing it in the evenings, doing it my lunch breaks, fitting in it on the weekends, which at the moment is still quite easy to do because there's not much else to do.
Yeah.
So it's a good time to learn a new skill.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Well, that's really cool. So thanks for today. Just to wrap it up, what would be your piece of advice that you would give to young women, girls, non-binary people thinking about starting their career and thinking about going into tech?
I'd say if you have an interest in going into tech, I think definitely pursue it. I think it's easy to be put off kind of pursuing that because it's traditionally white male, and if you don't kind of fit in or you don't see yourself fitting in at some point in the future, then it's really easy just to sort of go with something else. So I'd say just go for it. Like it requires like a lot of work to be successful, but if you're happy to put that work in, you can get like the most rewarding careers out of the end of it. So it is really worth pursuing.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. Thank you so much. That was a really interesting conversation. Great to learn your journey.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Yeah.